Hello and welcome back to Zoost, the home for all things osteopathic for people, animals, and I like to say birds as well because sometimes people forget that birds are also animals. The video you're going to see today is of another hedgehog, and hedgehogs are big in the news at the moment because of the fact that they are struggling in the United Kingdom. And I feel it's our duty to do everything we can to help these amazing creatures, and we should embrace them because they help in our gardens. And sadly, so many gardens now are becoming enclosed and hedgehogs are having to roam further and usually go across more roads in order to forage and to feed their families. And because of this, quite a few of them are getting injured. An awful lot of them, sadly, are also getting killed. The hedgehog you're going to see in today's video has an Achilles tendon injury, and there was also a fracture to the tarsal joint. That's sort of the ankle of the hedgehog. And you'll see all the work I've had to do to get this hedgehog functioning as well as it can. So it's not 100%, but functioning as well as it can, and able to move around quite quickly, as you will see. And I will talk you through the video and explain all the things that I had to do to try and help this little individual. So hopefully you'll enjoy the clip, and then I'll catch up with you at the other end. And normally when I work with hedgehogs, I'll be wearing gloves, but in order to get to this right hind leg that you can see there, I'm just teasing out, I really needed to be able to feel precisely what I was doing, so I had to take the glove off, which is rather uncomfortable, especially as hedgehogs are very sensitive to sound. So if anyone makes a noise around you, the spines go into your fingers. Here I'm using oscillation to both help get those back legs to come out, but also it improves the proprioception for the hedgehog, so its ability to know whereabouts each limb is, each part of its joints, and the orientation of its body. It has a lovely effect on relaxing muscles and then really getting the hedgehog to wake up. You can see him pushing up there, but look at that right hind leg. You can see that it doesn't extend like the left one does. And this was due to an injury. We could see on x-ray there'd been quite a bit of damage done. The bony aspects had healed, but it did behave similarly to somebody who's damaged their Achilles tendon, and therefore you get that sort of inability to push down with the foot, and you get the front flexors, the dorsiflexors that take over and pull the foot up. Now I'm using a technique which I developed, which basically is to trigger the cutaneous reflex that hedgehogs have, that get them to pull their spines upwards in a sort of like a defense mechanism. But in this case, what I'm doing is I'm using it to stimulate tension on the skin and the fascia to wake up the muscles underneath. It's a lovely technique. The hedgehog seem to quite enjoy it. None of them ever seem to get annoyed with the technique, and it allows you to really get the animal to do active movements. So if I stimulate down one side, I can get the hedgehog to bend that way, or laterally flex if we're talking to the vets, and you can either get it to curl itself up or uncurl itself. So really good technique, and as I say, it normally works really well with hedgehogs. They'll soon let you know if they don't like something, and in which case we stop. So it's nice and simple. Then just end with a little bit more oscillation. And as you can see, nice and alert hedgehog at the front end, not in the least bit stressed. And then I wanted to watch how it moved after this treatment. And although he can use his leg, it's not a pretty action is not as strong as I'd like to see, although the rest of the body conformation is good. So you've got a good hedgehog conformation and shape, and we see so many hedgehog casualties each year, and I see a lot that don't look as good as this. As ever, hedgehogs like to go off wandering. That mark you can see on the spines there is actually just a little paint that we put on just to identify them when you've got several hedgehogs in a or more than one hedgehog in a cage. Now I wasn't 100% happy with the action, so the vet gave a gentle anaesthetic, which allowed me to examine the hedgehog much more thoroughly. And here I am testing the good leg, which is the upper one in this case, and the upper hind leg, and then the not so good one, which I'm looking at now, and using very, very gentle articulation here, not forcing anything, not wrenching anything. I really just want to feel the quality of these tissues, and in particular the joints, and what the hedgehog can do and can't do without, and this way we're doing it without stressing the hedgehog. So although you can't see, it's got its head in a little gas mask, and it's just getting isoflurane and oxygen, and just working through testing for range of movement with these joints. And then here I'm working using the tail to just traction through the soft tissues all the way up the spine, because I also need to make sure that the nerve supply to the back legs is as good as possible. So here we are afterwards, and I think you'll agree that's moving somewhat quicker. Great, thanks for watching that. As you can see, the hedgehog still has got a certain degree of lameness, but it can get around. And with these types of hedgehogs or cases, we very often release those into what we call a soft release area, where the hedgehogs are monitored. They're also possibly fed, just until they really get back into the sort of the groove of looking for all the grubs, the worms, the slugs, all those garden nasties that people don't like. Your hedgehog will take care of them. So we do need to look after our hedgehogs. They are endangered. So if you see any out during daytime, that is usually when there is a problem. If in doubt, call your local wildlife hospital, and hopefully they can give you the advice you need. There's also the British Hedgehog Preservation Society. They can also give you advice on hedgehogs. But don't forget, these are wild creatures. You shouldn't really be handling them unless you have to. The only reason I'm handling them is because they are patients admitted into the hospital. I will put details below in the text for the hospital I work at, and also the British Hedgehog Preservation Society. So if you do have any questions or issues with hedgehogs or worries about them, by all means contact these places. And until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Take care.